Street Fighter! Alright, here we go. ストリートファイターだ。Street Fighter!
He's gonna take you back to the past to play the shitty games that suck.
Wait, chat. This is like back in 2000. Well, people say like he re-uploaded his video, so let's say this one uploaded like 2009 or 8 or 7. How did people paint it digital back then? このさ、2007年代とかさ、この年ってさ、どうやってデジタルアート作ったの? How did they make it like a digital art? Was it Photoshop? Did they have like a the tool for drawing for digital art back then? その時ってさ、あれあったの？なんか今で言うさ、なんか板タブとかあったの? They did? Oh wait, that's so cool! That's so cool! Ah! なるほどね。So they had a tool for drawing, like the pens and stuff. そうなんだ! Wait, that's so cool though. That's so cool. Oh, I was wondering if they're like drawing with mouse, but it looks really nice, so I was wondering about it. Ah. Hey, tablet だったら, oh, they have a tablet. But that's so cool. なるほどね. We drew on the rock. We drew video on the rock with a stick. 石で掘ったんだよ。いつの時代だよ。When the heck is that だよ。My.
Henya, computers are just rocks that we tripped into thinking with lightning.
Just a rock style.
Wanna play some games? Wanna play some shitty games? Well, hang on just a second. I gotta go get my mail.
Wow, cool place you live.
What the hell's all this shit? There's metallic sea sponges everywhere. There's titanium rocket jock straps, headless parrots with bottle caps, floating eyeballs entrapped in glass lids. How is this all happening? Oh, of course, it's the year 2010. Holy shit, this was all foreseen in the game Street Fighter 2010.
2010!
Yeah, should have known. It's crazy. Remember how futuristic the year 2000 seemed? My whole childhood, it seemed like every movie, every video game, it was always 2000. It sounded so high-tech and so far away. But now, fuck that. It's the 10-year anniversary of the year 2000. In 5 years, we're gonna have flying cars and hoverboards and self-lacing shoes.
Nope.
It better happen. Otherwise, they should have made it the year 3000. Even if they made it 2100, we'd all be dead. It wouldn't make a difference anyway.
I hope
Better be
not.
a mystery than to be wrong. Anyway, the oldest Street Fighter game that most people have played was Street Fighter 2. But this one on the NES came before, and it just so happens to take place in 2010. Who would have thought that Street Fighter's past lied in the future, which is now the present? Let's take a look at this. I can only imagine. We're gonna be Tiger uppercutting through space and time. We're gonna be throwing sonic booms on the moon, Hadoukens up Uranus. Fuck Street Fighter 4. This is Street Fighter 2010.
2010!
Target versus Ken. Okay, I know who Ken is, but Target? I'll accept that it's some weird devil with a scorpion stinger that doesn't exist in any other Street Fighter game, but are they really calling it Target? Maybe it's Target. So, welcome to Street Fighter in space. There may not be streets in space, but there are fights. The gameplay is unlike anything I can describe. It definitely doesn't feel like Street Fighter.
It doesn't look like a Street Fighter at all. Wait a minute. ストファイと全然違くない? Hang on. This is nothing looks like a Street Fighter.
Comes a little closer to Mega Man because of its laser ball projectiles and Ninja
What
Gaiden
happened to
because of
Ken?
climbing on walls. But
Ken
even those
どうしたの?
games don't help describing it.
He
No matter
looks a
what
lot
you do,
different.
you always end up flipping around and grabbing onto everything in sight. It's
Huh?
as if the controls themselves are too futuristic and advanced for anyone to comprehend. When attacking, your enemies have to be right next to you or above you because you can only shoot straight ahead or straight up.
no.
There is a way to shoot down, but it involves doing some kind of aerial somersault, and you can only pop off one shot at a time if you're in midair. Oh, and by the
Actually,
way,
Ken
to
died?
shoot diagonally
What?
up, you press down and B. I'm not kidding.
You press down to shoot diagonally.
Then how do you shoot down?
What the hell is this poop-plastered, shit-smothered piece of fuck? And what does it have to do with Street Fighter? Well, Ken's in it. That's about it. It has Ken, or more or less a guy in a spacesuit named Ken. I guess it would help if I read the backstory. Let's see. Ken, the Frontier, partner of Troy, Lab,
Oh
Puddle
my
of
gosh, he's
Jelly,
like a Star
Street
Wars.
Fighting Circuit, Cyberplasm, Overdose, Violent Mutants.
Alright, so what I get out of this is Ken won the street fighting circuit, then he became a scientist and invented some kind of thing called cyboplasm. I guess it's like ectoplasm, just with a little more cybo.
What?
And then his partner, some guy named Troy, was killed, and then the cyboplasm is stolen,
What
and then
the heck is
everybody's
going on?
turned to mutants, and basically, yeah, that's about it.
What
I
is
wouldn't be
going on in
surprised Ken
here?
is the only Street Fighter character in this game. No Guile, no Chun-Li, no M. Bison. Instead, we get Target, the scorpion devil alien from the...
Wait, is it Zangief Street Fighter 2? Zangief ってストリートファイターだっけ? Is it Zangief? Zangief! Is he a Street Fighter 2? Yes, I like him! He did Zangief 好き. I like Zangief.
year 2010. I guess
my
we can make the
favorite.
best of it and
Zangief
just
is
pretend it's
Zangief.
Street Fighter.
Hadouken! Hadouken!
Hadoken. Hadoken. Shoryuken. Tatsumaki Senpukyaku.
It doesn't
Hadoken.
work. Even
You
when I
win.
put the sound effects in, it's
Tatsumaki
not Street
Senpukyaku.
Fighter. It worked better when they brought Punch-Out to outer space. And you want to know what the most confusing part of the whole story is? In the original Japanese version, the character's name was Kevin Stryker. It was the US version which changed the name to Ken and added that one little tiny reference to the street fighting circuit in an attempt to tie it in with the game in which it's fucking named after. So you're telling me the Japanese version had less to do with Street Fighter? As in nothing?
I guess you can say this is where the series got sidetracked before hitting big with Street Fighter 2, which then went off on its own tangent. Man, Street Fighter's the only series to have a sequel which had its own series. Most people never played or even heard of Street Fighter 1.
I never knew that. I never knew that. They did. I thought it's all about fighting. 知らなかったこんなのあるの. Wait, so this one is developed by where? Lost in the store! Oh no, still lost だよ. Thank you for 5 gifted subs. ありがとう. Thank you for a lot. Thank you for 5 gifted subs. ありがとう. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. ありがとうだよ. Thank you for a lot. Thank you for a lot. ありがとう.
I almost wondered why they even bothered to call it Street Fighter 2 on the home consoles. They could have just called it Street Fighter. Kind of like with Final Fantasy VI, they ignored the missing sequels and just called it 3. So, whatever happened to the original Street Fighter? I have laid eyes on the arcade cabinet 20-something years ago, so I know it existed. Only in recent years I've discovered that it was ported onto the Commodore 64 and every home computer of the time before landing on the TurboGrafx 16 CD. Ah yeah, I finally get to talk about this thing. When Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis were fighting the 16-bit war, the TurboGrafx 16 was chilling in the background. It's a unique specimen. Its games didn't come on cartridges, but instead these neat little cards and CDs. The CD unit was sold separately, and it was the first CD game console, at least in North America, so the technology didn't quite catch on yet. In combination with that, most people owned either a Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis. Not only would you have had to own a
メガドライブ ってセガジェネシスって言うんだ。Wait, people call Mega Drive Sega Genesis? I didn't know that. It's a different name? 名前違うんだ。
TurboGrafx 16, you'd have to buy the CD attachment
Oh,
too.
I
So
didn't
it's
know
no
that.
wonder no one played the
Sega
first
Genesis.
Street Fighter game. And to be even
Mega
more
Driveが Genesis
elusive,
なんだ。
they changed the fucking title to
US is a
Fighting
Genesis.
Street.
Ah.
That doesn't make any sense. But at least you get to play as classic characters such as Ryu, George Washington, and Abe Lincoln.
The mystery is solved. We're finally playing
can
the
fight with
original
Lincoln?
Street Fighter. And guess
George
what?
Washington?
It sucks ass.
I'm sure the arcade version was better, but this is lousy. And the only reason I say that is the control. The special moves only work whenever they feel like it.
ジョージ・ワ
You
シン
can
トンと
try to
戦える
throw
の
a
か、海
Hadouken
外
the
版。
entire fight, and it'll never fucking work. Also, the voices sound like shit.
Listen, don't forget the many doors that you all over.
Oh my gosh, that's like something I hear at the school. It's like ding dun dun dun, and someone is speaking like ding dun dun dun, like something I'll hear it in the school and we understand nothing. 学校の放送じゃんかよ。
The wall.
Wah, 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 wah.
The only characters you get to play as are Ryu and Ken. They can only be selected by plugging the controller into the first port for Ryu and the second for Ken. There's no character select screen. There's a couple training stages thrown in. It's primitive, but for one of the first fighting games, it wouldn't have been bad aside from the awful control. Come on, do the move, do the move! Oh, you son of a bitch! Come on, do a Shoryuken! Oh, come on, Shoryuken! More like Shoryuken! It's no wonder why nobody remembers this game. Of all the revisions and turbo enhancements they've done to Street Fighter 2, an already great game, it makes me wonder why they weren't doing the same to the original to make it better. Street Fighter the Good Edition. How about that? Believe it or not, the first game intended as a sequel was Final Fight. Originally, it was called Street Fighter 89.
89.
However, they treated it as an entirely different kind of game with a beat-em-up style. So Final Fight became its own series, but Capcom would often make small crossovers to tie them together. In Final Fight 2, you can see Chun-Li in the background.
There she
And
is.
some Final Fight characters would appear in later Street Fighter games.
Zangief!
The title Street Fighter
Zangief!
89 was
My
changed
favorite.
after they exhibited the game at a trade show. The feedback they got led them to change it on the grounds that it had nothing to do with Street Fighter. Oh, but not at all like that one.
Whoa. Man, I got way off track. I still gotta finish this. You know what? I just noticed the full
I've
title
played
is
the
Street
actual
Fighter
arcade game for
2010,
Street Fighter
the
1, and the controls are very bad. However, if you can land a Shoryuken, it's an instant win.
My gosh, it was that OP? Wow, I didn't know that.
Final fight. The irony is stunning, and
Was
I'm
that
nerding the
OP?
fuck out of myself. But how do you make a game named off of two other games and not have anything to do with either of them? Maybe it means Final Fight as in this is the future. This is the final Street Fighter fight. But Street Fighter? Maybe it's based off the Street Fighter movie series from the 1970s.
There's a movie series?
It has just as little relation. Oh, and speaking of
映画なんだ。
Street Fighter movies, remember
What?
Street Fighter the movie, the game?
Wait, I
This
didn't
is
know
the
that.
Sega Saturn version. How do you like that? Knocking another
I
console
didn't
off
know
the list.
that. What?
Anyway, this is one of the stupidest ideas I ever
Hey,
heard.
Gordon.
They make a movie based on the game, and then a game based on the movie. Not to mention the movie was more or less based off Street Fighter 2 and not the first one. It kind of resembles Mortal
What's he
Kombat
saying?
with its digitized actors, but not as good. It's not a bad game either. It's like Street Fighter 2, but the controls are a little more stiff. For curiosity's sake, it's fun to play, but it just makes you wish you were playing Street Fighter 2 instead.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Alright, I got really sidetracked. I was trying to review Street Fighter 2010, and, you know, I just talk about one thing, I end up talking about something else. But that's what happens, man. And you know what? If they didn't call it Street Fighter, maybe I wouldn't have had that problem. So, from this point on, let's just forget about the title, take the name Street Fighter, and just throw it away.
The objective for each stage is to
Oh,
find
yeah,
a
we were
portal.
playing
The
this
portal
one.
never appears until you destroy
But
the
this
target
one's not
enemy,
even
and that's
Street
why all the
Fighter.
enemies are called target. Yeah,
これ全然ストファイじゃないじゃん。This is not a Street Fighter at all. At all.
it is awkward, but that's what it means. So you destroy the target,
Wow.
the portal appears somewhere, and you have to race and get to it
Let's
within a
just fade
very
in.
short time limit. And I mean very short. There's a time limit within the stage, too. I'm running around trying to kill this plant thing, but the motherfucker won't stay still.
Uh-oh.
Come on, I'm running out of time.
Uh-oh.
Fuck.
No!
The
Street
graphics
Fighter, the movie, the game, the movie, the game, the web series, the comic book, the novel, the board game, the underwear, the cereal, the Bible, the action figure account.
My gosh, they have a
look
lot.
like some kind
What
of
the
weird
heck?
cyber nightmare.
They have
I like
a
it.
lot.
It's kinda
The
like a cross
Bible.
between Salvador Dali and H.R.
What do you
Geiger.
mean, the Bible?
Other times, you're in a psychedelic limbo with clown music shooting at frogs.
Bible, Dale.
The background looks like one of those magic eye pictures, you know, the ones you're supposed to stare at and go cross-eyed.
Thank you for pizza.
Each stage
Yappa.
gets
Thank
harder
you.
and pushes you to new levels of frustration. There's this stage where the screen keeps moving horizontally. If you don't make it through fast enough,
Uh-oh.
you die.
Oh, this kind
Sometimes
of
you have to choose between taking the time to kill an enemy or just rushing through because you're gonna die anyway if you don't move your ass.
Oh, no.
Then there's this stage where the screen actually moves back and forth.
Oh, no. Ah.
The most difficult thing about this game is attacking. There's so many airborne enemies that you can't do anything about. I'm climbing on a fucking waterfall of diarrhea.
Oh.
I can't shoot up or down, and because the enemies are coming from up and down, that's really a fucking problem.
That's so annoying. You
Ugh,
can't
I
even
can't
shoot it.
you. Get away from me.
You can't
I'm
shoot it
getting
like
murdered.
a Mega Man?
I'm getting butt fucked up the dick.
What?
Then there's the sand stage where you have to fight a boss, but there isn't any foundation to be able to fight. You're jumping around in the sand trying to work your way to the bottom of the screen so you can shoot this guy, but every time you get low enough to shoot him,
What did he just say?
shoots first and you gotta jump back up. You never get the chance. I wish all this fucking sand wasn't here. Then there's this stage where you have to shoot an eyeball on the ceiling, but there's no way to reach it unless you have full power up. But you can't go back and get any power up, so you're screwed. The only thing
Oh,
you can
no.
do here is wait for these mucus walls to build up, stand on the very edge right here, and then you have to face the opposite direction. And this is the only way you can hit this eyeball.
Oh,
but then
no.
good luck trying to avoid all the other shit coming at you. You can
Oh,
never pay attention to one
no.
thing at a time. This game is all about distractions, and it forces you to multitask. No matter how used to it
Oh,
you
no.
think you get, each level throws something different your way. You have to keep developing new strategies.
Just
This
watching-
game is
just watching
incredibly
this game
annoying,
makes me
but it's
pain.
also very
Gives me
stimulating.
pain that-
If the controls were less limited and some of its flaws were ironed over, I'd say it's an underrated NES classic. It gives you an adrenaline rush and it pisses you off just enough that you don't want to give up. Whenever you beat a stage after hours of trying, there's nothing more satisfying and triumphant than to hear that glorious sound.
Let's
However,
go!
the final stage goes way too far.
Oh,
It's the
yeah?
most heartless and abominable end stage ever programmed. What you get here is an endurance round. You have to fight 3 bosses and then go on to a final boss who has 2 different forms. All
You
on
should
one
check out the
single life.
Magnavox Odyssey
You die
AVGN
once,
episode
you go
next,
back.
in case you're interested.
First,
Thank
it's
you
this
for
fucking
recommendation.
clam-shaped thing.
Arigato.
Then it's this
Thank
fuck
you.
brain. Then these 2 disappearing mummified armadillo robots in a room that randomly spouts fire all about. On top of
What
trying to
the-
stay alive, you have to do it all before the time runs out.
There's a timer?
Oh, look, I beat him. And
Oh,
the time's still going. Come
What
on,
the-
come on, I gotta get to the final boss. Yes, I made it. 2 seconds to spare. Then you get a cutscene. There's no way anybody's gonna bother to read this. Your heart is pounding so fast and you're ripping your hair out of your head wondering, what the fuck am I gonna have to fight now? I'm at the final boss. What is it? What is it? What?
What?
The fucking time limit? You think that
Wait, it doesn't get reset? It keeps continuing? First of all, why the heck they have a timer? And then the timer doesn't even get reset? What the fuck?
after the cutscene the timer would start over. But no! You fight the 3 bosses, then it's the cutscene, then you fight
way!
2 forms of the final boss. So that's basically 5 bosses in total, all on the same life bar and the same time limit.
That's insane!
You get unlimited continues, so there's no excuse to shut off the game. You just keep playing and playing and playing.
What?
Eventually, you start to get good at it. You can blow through all these bosses, taking as little damage as possible, but then the time always
Literally, the game, all these classic games, it's like, oh, you having trouble beating it? Lol, just get good like that. That's what it is. That's what it is. It feels like all these games before, it's like every game is a Dark Souls. Every classic game, it feels like you're playing Dark Souls. With any good armor. I grew up as a time that if I'm having trouble defeating the boss, the game will ask me, would you like to switch to easy mode like that? Yeah, or they have some kind of like solution, but like the game before, it's not like that. It's brutal.
Runs out. So you do it real fast, but then you end up getting killed. Then you start to go through a phase where you get so frustrated that all the skill you've accumulated starts to weaken. So instead of getting better, you actually start to get worse because you've been playing the same fucking thing over and over.
No!
The final
Just
boss
call
looks like a
1-800
big
get good.
blistering ball sack that swallowed Grimace. His only weak spot is the face. The ideal strategy is to climb onto the wall and keep shooting, but your beam doesn't reach. Not without full power-ups. You can try jumping off and shooting, but that takes too long. You don't
What do
have
you do?
time. When you're plowing through the stage, you gotta stop and get all the power-ups. But that wastes time too. But you gotta do it. You gotta somehow make it all happen. You can't beat one boss flawlessly, but then fuck up a little on the next one. You gotta 1. Beat all the bosses without getting hurt too much. 2. Get all the power-ups. And 3.
shit.
Do it fast as shit. All in one perfect run. But once you do it, man, you're on the fucking top of the world. Yeah, boom, boom.
He did it! No way!
And that, my friends, is Street Fighter 2010.
Oh, that was a
That's
Street
all I
Fighter.
have
I
to
even
say.
forgot
So
about
Happy
it.
New Year, Happy New Decade. Am I forgetting anything? Yeah. Forgot my fucking mail.
そうだ、これストリートファイターだった。I even forgot this was about Street Fighter. This does not look like a Street Fighter at all. At all. やばすぎる。すげえな。